Easter Rising in itself was a time in 1916 when members of the IRB, in particular with the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Citizen Army, had decided to strike a blow for Irish freedom. They knew that at that time, that in the middle of the First World War, as has often been quoted, that when England was under pressure in other fields of war, that was Ireland's opportunity. So in this case, they knew themselves, even in striking out for freedom at that time, that they were unlikely to be successful, but that in making that attempt, that they themselves were securing the soul of Ireland and the spirit of Ireland for its people for independence.
2016 marks the 100th anniversary of the Easter Rising in Ireland, where it will be commemorated all over the country. The town of Castlederrick is no different. It's a small town in Northern Ireland that borders the Republic of Ireland. Throughout the Troubles here, a distinct divide was created between the nationalist and unionist communities. This difference still remains today, including the views that each community holds on the upcoming commemorations.
A few months back, Council decided that they would work with two centenaries, two significant centenaries in this particular year. Obviously the Easter Rising and the Somme. I think it was a bit of a political play-off, you know, in other words, you do your thing, let us do our thing, was the aspect of it. My involvement is not that I have been or will be attending any of the events referenced the Easter Rising, but at the same time there are significant issues within the Rising for the Union's population, namely the members of the Royal Irish Constabulary and the Dublin Metropolitan Police who died during the Rising, and of course a significant, in fact more British soldiers than rebels actually died during the Rising. And you know, we cannot forget the overwhelming number of civilians and indeed the guts of 40 children. Those all cannot be forgotten.
The insurrection, the rebellion in Area Marcus, we say in Irish, in 1916, it wasn't a religious war, not in the slightest, not in any way at all. The Irish Republican Brotherhood was made up of Irishmen of all denominations and all social classes as well too, from the often quoted poets, teachers, professional people of all ilk, and working classes, and that both in Ireland and throughout the world, and particularly in America. We must never forget that the American connection was very, very important to the IRB at that time in helping to prepare them for the rebellion.
In the run-up to the commemorations, there has been talk of the centenary being used as unfinished business or a glorification of republicanism, especially from members of the unionist communities. Councillor Derek Hussey said this was also the case at the 50th anniversary.
The 50th anniversary celebrations, I don't actually recall them, but people have said to me that the 50th celebrations were a sort of rekindling of laying down your life for Ireland, and that sort of led to the emergence of the Troubles and organisations that were prepared to try and achieve their united Ireland via military means. The main Republican Party at the moment is Sinn Féin, but Sinn Féin actually had no involvement in the Rising, and a lot, you know. So what are you trying to hitch your wagon to? Because you weren't actually involved. Some people have tried to hitch on to something that they may not have the entitlement to do so.
Sinn Féin councillor Militia McHugh had a different view on the matter.
Unionists will always present this in an entirely different way, and I can accept them having a different perspective on the rebellion of 1916. I can accept them as having a different perspective too on the freedom of all of Ireland for all of its people. But when they talk about this sort of unfinished business, what they're really alluding to there, you know, is that they're again questioning the morality of, we'll say, the use of violence, the likes of it, nearly as if, in some respects, as if it never had been used by unions and themselves in securing and maintaining the six-county state. But no, I don't agree with them in that, and I don't think that at the present time that the commemorations of 1916 will be used by people in any way to encourage anyone to attempt to achieve that very, very noble objective of independent and free Ireland in any way other than in a democratic way. At the time of the 50th anniversary, I was 15 years of age, and it was with great sort of anticipation that people wanted to see what was happening at that time. Unfortunately, at that time we didn't have the same access, we'll say, to television, or coloured television in particular, you know, to relay all of the events to us that were happening in Dublin and the likes of it. But locally in Castlederg, what I do remember, it wasn't that Republicans actually had gone out in any way to celebrate the occasion or to commemorate the occasion, but I distinctly remember the forces of the state, the B-men in particular, that on the Easter Sunday morning as we came home from Mass, they had set themselves up around the town. They had established a machine gun on a tripod stand over there at what we call Kyle's, and with this deliberate show of strength, as much as to say, you can celebrate all you want as far as an Easter rebellion is concerned, but you crappies, remember that you're still here, part of the what I call the occupied part of the six counties, and that we're still the bosses. And as I say, at that time, this is prior even to the more recent troubles, and yet now they seem fit to have this complete show of armed force in the middle of a rural country town, as I say, with machine guns set up in the main street and the likes of it, to let people know we're going to keep you in your box.
On Holy Saturday, Sinn Féin hosted an event at a monument dedicated to those who died in more recent struggles for Irish freedom, along with political representatives during these periods. I then attended the local commemorations that took place on Easter Sunday in Castlederg. Unlike the 50th anniversary, the event was peaceful and proved to be a success, as they hosted influential guest speaker Padraig McLaughlin from Donegal.
Remember this: we follow the true inheritance of those who fought in 1916. We fight for the 32-county republic. We fight for equality. We fight to make sure that our country is not beholden to bankers and financiers in Germany, in Britain or elsewhere. We fight to achieve the Ireland that was promised to us in the streets of Dublin in 1916. We fight to achieve the Ireland that our heroes fought and died for in the recent decades of struggle. We are inspired by their sacrifice, and we march on towards the Republic until it is achieved, and never stop until it is achieved.
Some Republicans may have thought that 100 years on, a free Ireland and a united Ireland would have already been achieved. From listening to Padraig at the commemorations, it was clear that that goal still remains today.
Those that died in 1916 were fighting for a free Ireland, because at that time Ireland wasn't divided. It was all under British rule in a sense, and that they were fighting for a free Ireland because they did believe that not only was it our right, our inalienable right as an Irish nation, that we would have control over our own destiny, but they also knew as well too that achieving that objective, that it was going to be the best possible solution for all of our people. This has been a recurring cycle, that division within our community, and it stems essentially from the very fact that the six counties are not integrated with the rest of the island of Ireland, and I do think it would be the best for all of our people if we were all united as a single unitary state.
However, for some Unionists, this view is also not shared.
Maybe I'm seeing this through red, white and blue tinted glasses, but I can't see it in my lifetime. It's not something that I would believe to be for the benefit of the people that I represent in this area. And I think there are a considerable number of members of the Roman Catholic community who are content to remain part of the United Kingdom.
Although things have progressed over the years in the north of Ireland, including Castlederg, the divide created between Unionist and Nationalist communities still remains today.